It is Friday, the 28th of February, 2025, and I'm going to share a lot during this video and things that I have called out for several years. Luckily, what I did was I went on my Instagram page because that is somehow as targeted as my other social media platforms to be removed. I had a lot of warnings. I was shadow banned, all of that stuff, but and significantly less viewers since I started pushing the COVID narrative, going against what people were saying. But we'll see. Hopefully, when people see what I've been sharing, it will these posts will gain traction. So I'm just going to get into it. So just going through how even during COVID, I was focusing on fitness and being outside and being healthy spiritually as well as mentally and emotionally. It's my doggy. Yeah, so I thought like being outside was incredibly important. Working out in order to make sure that if you did catch some kind of an illness or a virus disease or even an injury sustaining, that you would be able to heal more efficiently. And so I was practicing what I was preaching, and people during this time were watching a lot of my exercise videos, including my family, because they were in another province and we didn't get to see each other for a while. And they were like, some of them were following through with the workouts I was posting, and I was showing like nature, like being outside with my dogs. Some of my photos from South Africa. Support for law enforcement and military, like always there. Obviously, this is me in the military. A makeshift market area that we had built in Suffield during that time. Rock climbing, primitive survival with Matt Wright from Naked and Afraid. This is me on a quad, hunting tomahawks. This is Denmark. Rock climbing in Thailand. This is Switzerland. This is Mount Sinai. This is the Sahara Desert. These are the pyramids. This is me in Barbados because I was part of the CISM running team and we were doing training and stuff like that. And we were also, it was part of the military national running team. And I was part of that. South Africa. This is Bulin, Gwen, and Sarah. Me when I was doing bikini fitness, survival stuff. Anyways, I just wanted to get into talking about the brain, more fitness stuff. I was sharing the emergency alerts and how they had access and reach to us. Like how did they obviously got it from the phone providers. Oh, you can't even see it. God damn it. I keep doing that. Here you go. Anyways, I was jacked. And then COVID hit, and then even in the end of 2021, when I literally went to on game day essentially to compete, got there the night before, and it was canceled when we were already at the venue, and then had to drive home. And so this ruined a lot of people's lives. Yeah, if you care about what other people think, you will always be the prisoner. Me hiking. Really good areas that I found. Funny. I started doing videos. This was like really early on. I'm going really early. So I was talking in a video, I think it was last week, and I said that in like early in 2021, I had posted a video about, are we in an abusive relationship with our government? So this was literally just me posting, even then, 203 weeks ago, sharing the title, are we in an abusive relationship with our government? I said, I now have a YouTube channel. Let me know if you want me to talk about anything. Well, I had it since 2016 or 17, but I was finally starting to post more, and I was letting people know, and then my accounts kept on getting deleted. So anyways, I just want to keep on going up. More primitive survival training in the mountains in Colorado. Shooting on the range. My sister's place. Excuse me. Yeah. This is me talking about the political spectrum when I was saying you got anarchy in the bottom of the y-axis, authority at the top, and then the individual and the collective. Like this is just another example of like cooperation versus competition, democracy, aristocracy, tribal, oligarchical. It's there's different diagrams of this, but yeah. So just like when voting this year, please check and see where your party lines line up. Where your, yeah, right, left, communitarian versus individualism. You've got authoritarian left, authoritarian right, libertarian left, libertarian right. I was posting a lot of graphs at this time. Breaking: General McKenzie, head of U.S. Central Command, to announce no ISIS-K fighters killed in U.S. drone airstrike in Kabul, August 29th. 10 civilians killed, including 7 children in Toyota. No disciplinary action expected, officials say. U.S. military stands by intel leading to strike. 22nd September 2021. Again, this was like 4 years ago now. I shared this. I said punishment for murdering a family in a drone strike, nothing. Punishment for letting us know that the government is murdering family in drone strikes, 45 months in prison. Yeah. So telling the truth gets you punishment, but actually committing crimes. And by the way, Pete Hegseth, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, he reiterated that one of his primary focuses to start his job, I guess, would be he's looking into the debacle, the absolute tragedy, the shit show that happened during the Afghanistan pullout during this time. And literally right from the beginning, during that time, I was calling this out. Again, this is 4 years ago, guys and girls. And again, this is not like, oh, look at me, I'm so amazing. Not at all. Not at all. I was getting this information from amazing people that were giving me this information, people on the ground, hero types that were again, like releasing this information at risk to themselves. Look what happened to Assange. like the CIA, like that, like this is a fact. They were planning to murder him, and they were targeting his family as well. And so this is just to give a little bit more credibility, I guess I would say, to the fact that like I have not just been speaking about this like after things have happened of significance for years. This is stuff that I've addressed. Universe 25, again, 4 years ago, I was talking about that. So the Universe 25 experiment is one of the most terrifying experiments in the history of science, which, through the behavior of a colony of mice, is an attempt by scientists to explain human societies. The idea of Universe 25 came from the American scientist John Calhoun, who created an ideal world in which hundreds of mice would live and reproduce. More specifically, Calhoun built the so-called paradise of mice, a specially designed space where rodents had abundance of food and water, as well as a large living space. In the beginning, he placed 4 pairs of mice that in short time began to reproduce, resulting in their population growing rapidly. However, after 315 days, their reproduction began to decrease significantly. When the number of rodents reached 600, a hierarchy was formed between them, and then the so-called wretches appeared. The larger rodents began to attack the group, with the result that many males began to collapse psychologically. As a result, the females did not protect themselves and in turn became aggressive towards their young. As time went on, the females showed more and more aggressive behavior, isolation elements, and lack of reproductive mood. There was a low birth rate and at the same time an increase in mortality in younger rodents. Then a new class of male rodents appeared, the so-called beautiful mice. They refused to mate with the females or to fight for their space. All they cared about was food and sleep. At one point, beautiful males and isolated females made up the majority of the population. According to Calhoun, the death phase consisted of 2 stages, the first death and the second death. The former was characterized by the loss of purpose in life beyond mere existence, no desire to mate, raise their young, or establish a role within society. Sound familiar? 15-minute cities, communist states. Anyways, as a result, as time went on, juvenile mortality reached 100% and reproduction reached 0. Among the endangered mice, homosexuality was observed, and at the same time, cannibalism increased, despite the fact that there was plenty of food. 2 years after the start of the experiment, the last baby of the colony was born. By 1973, he had killed the last mouse in Universe 25. John Calhoun repeated the same experiment 25 more times, and each time the result was the same. Calhoun's scientific work has been used as a model for interpreting social collapse, and his research serves as a focal point for the study of urban sociology. We are currently witnessing direct parallels in today's societies. Weak, feminized men with little to no skills and no protection instincts, and overly agitated and aggressive females with no maternal instincts. Yeah, I was showing this. Really? You're Alberta, hashtag Alberta. This is how you are going to get people to police the masses? Can they issue tickets, arrest people, shoot rubber bullets like Australia and their private security? And so this was COVID compliance personnel, old RMH, Red Deer, Alberta. This was like literally job descriptions on Indeed.com. And so I just got to read it. Sorry. COVID compliance personnel required from multiple locations across central Alberta. Staff will ensure all COVID mandates outlined by the government of Alberta are met. Staff will be responsible for checking COVID passports and exemption letters, along with ensuring proper masking requirements. Location available, Olds, Rocky Mountain House, Red Deer. Contract length, 2 to 6 months. Part-time hours, 40 per week. Anyways, it goes on from there. Yeah, and so even in Alberta, I was calling this shit out. Why are you doing that? Yeah. Yeah, it goes on. I was sharing the friggin' stats, like even this. This was the directly from the UK government. It would appear that 71% of deaths reported are within the vaxxed, and then said we all need to look in the mirror and be honest about our health. There was a pandemic of bad lifestyle choices that is getting worse, not better. Anyways, and I go on from there. I'm just talking about. I gave the report. I showed the I showed the stats, and I gave this to government. I talked about Ontario widely overestimated cases and deaths. I gave the actual documents and referenced it as well. And then I showed that again with ChatGPT last week, I believe it was. Here's me showing the Can 4 gens. Yeah. There is no official government federal mandate to enforce all individuals to apply to get the 2 vaccines currently used in Canada. The CAF Canadian Forces is once again forcing a trial drug on its members like it has done so many times before. This was 2021. And I shared the, and unclassified, just to be clear. Yeah. Canadian Armed Forces. Again, I was calling this out. This was Wayne Eyre that put this in. CAF members who are non-compliant with this directive due to being unwilling to disclose their vaccination status. Anyways. And or refuse to get the shot, get kicked out. All CAF members, irrespective of their vaccination status, will be permitted to... Yeah, that was bullshit. Oh, wait. Hold up. Yeah. I was talking about this being... If you ever wonder what the side of the fence you sit on, this is a great test. If a conservative doesn't like guns, he doesn't buy one. If a liberal doesn't like guns, he wants all guns outlawed. If a conservative is a vegetarian, he doesn't eat meat. If a liberal is a vegetarian, he wants all meat products banned for everyone. If a conservative is down and out, he thinks about how to better his situation. A liberal wonders who is going to take care of him. Anyways, it goes on from there, but I was just sharing that there was a lot of hypocrisy within the left and how they were making people more reliant on the government instead of less reliant, which is the point. I showed even here, measles vaccine was first licensed in 1963 and was in widespread usage by the 1980s. As the following chart shows, by the time the measles vaccine was introduced, mortality from measles was already largely eradicated. And it's the same thing for other inoculations as well. Like I've showed that there was already a decline within all of these viruses or illnesses, whatever you want to call them. And yeah. Several of Canada's largest legacy media companies failed to reveal nearly $2 million worth of Pfizer Pharmaceuticals funding that a leading pediatrics professor from Alberta has received while pushing for vaccinations of 5 to 11-year-olds. And so I hashtagged this guy, I even friggin' tagged this guy. Like I was giving people so, like, I don't understand how it, I do understand how it got to the way it is because we deserve it. And I'll get into that as well. But Jim Kellner needs to be terminated immediately and no right to pension. All the money from Pfizer should be given to the government and spent on real Canadian issues. And he should get jail time. This is clear. And so I know people that knew this guy as well. And when I shared this, they're like, oh, no, not looking at this. Nope, not pushing this. Nope, he's a friend. Since 2014, Kellner's research has received almost $2 million from Pfizer. Kellner's research funding was not disclosed, etc. Still, he's a pediatrician. Dr. Tran reported that Public Health Ontario received funding from the Public Health Agency of Canada and more names and more major conflicts of interest that need to be known. Let's talk about conflict of interest disclosures. God, this was such a crazy period. Let's talk about tyranny. I shared this. A compromised, malnourished, and inflamed immune system won't respond appropriately either way. Whether you choose the natural or induced route, your best bet for surviving in the world has always been through healthy living. Nothing controversial about that. 2021, not pretty. Look what else I was talking about. I can't even say that. And I gave these save links. I gave the references. I also call it a lot of politicians. So yeah, this was, he was just on Megyn Kelly. I was sharing this even 4 years ago, what he was sharing about the Pfizer controversy. I tagged Justin Trudeau, Doug Ford, who won the friggin' election yesterday, Theresa Tam, I tagged Patty Hajdu, Kieran Moore, Jason Happerberg, Jim Watts in Ottawa, Global Media. I tagged all these friggin' people. I tried. Well, again, there was so much shit. Yeah. I was talking about the overview of adipose tissue, E2 modulation by diet and obesity, potential implications for the severity in COVID-19. I gave the debunked original trials. Cite this as BMJ 2021. Read our latest coverage of the coronavirus pandemic. Revelations of poor practices at a contract company, research company helping to carry out Pfizer's pivotal COVID-19 vaccine trial raised questions about data integrity, and I go on from there. I cited the reference. And even not even having a placebo group. 2021, when all this stuff was coming out, I was sharing it. And again, this is not a brag. This is just like I'm gonna get to it. Waning immune humoral response, COVID-19 vaccine over 6 months. I 2021, guys. When all this stuff was coming out, I fucking gave it. Sorry for swearing. And I was talking about Doug Ford here. Unpopular opinion, the overweight obese should not be dictating what 100% of the population puts inside their bodies. And I was getting, targeted a lot. And again, when I was talking about Doug Ford, because he is morbidly obese, people are like, oh, you can't. Why can't I? He's showing you videos of him making pies. And anyway, more stats. Yeah. More stats. Connecting. Boost natural immunity and overall health pandemic. More people died in the key clinical trial for Pfizer's COVID vaccine than the company publicly reported. I also provided the VAERS, the vaccine adverse events reported just by Pfizer alone, just from the UK reports. God. Let's talk about the blood donations and how possibly could be impacted because of changes in our blood, possibly, and with spike protein and all that other stuff. Yeah. So I was sharing science, and people were calling me a fucking pseudoscientist. And I'm like, I'm referencing scientific journals and publications, and we should be looking at this. Like, I'm not understanding why, like the Rachel Maddow types that have zero fucking background in any of this information, who has lied consistently on the record for literally years. And it was one of the highest paying fucking journalists, or whatever you want to call her, out there, liars, propagandists. And she doesn't read scientific literature clearly, or medical literature. Does she have any experience working in any level of government either, to even be properly trained in how to assess and analyze information, or where to find it on uncensored browsers using a VPN, or connecting from different countries because of the various levels of censorship? Absolutely not. Yeah. Anyway. Even here, someone show me the science or medical evidence to prove unvaccinated people have worse outcomes than vaccinated people. There are none. This study would involve healthy individuals without any comorbid conditions in a controlled environment. We are being fed lies. 2021. World Economic Forum urges companies to fire unvaccinated employees as part of jobs reset. Deletes tweet after backlash. But here's the tweet. So WEF 2021, calling it out. Calling this shit out too. Oh yeah, and we're talking about James Comey. We've been talking about James Comey. The lead prosecutor in the Ghislaine Maxwell case is Maureen Comey. Interesting. Okay. Here's me sharing WEF members. 2021. Justin Trudeau, this guy, Jacinda Ardern, Boris Johnson, Biden, Emmanuel Macron, like Angela Merkel. What more? Yeah, what more could have been done? A number of heart-related complications may occur, including heart failure, arrhythmias, heart inflammation, and blood clots. November 27th, 2021. And again, me saying scapegoat, question mark, because I have repeatedly said that the what they're alleging to be virus complications or illness complications are actually vaccine adverse side effects. And I was even saying it then, scapegoated, because it was the vaccines that were causing those issues. More autoimmune issues, heart issues, lung issues, cancers, etc. being found in previously young and healthy individuals. Guess what the correlation is? November 29th, 2021. Like, it just goes on from there. I called out Mike Yeadon. Showed so many more stats on fucking COVID. Again, this is just absolutely, yeah. But I want to share because there's other things here. Again, I was looking at this all morning. I'm just like, oh my God, like this was, what a wild. And again, we've rewarded bad behavior because Doug Ford got reelected in the province of Ontario. I can't even believe I can. But this is how we don't have accountability or any, anyway, vindication for what this fucking asshole did, like since his tenure. He should be in jail. Yeah, talk about mandatory explained. A mandate is an authority by one person to another to do certain things or take some course of action that is accepted by the other. A mandate is commonly revocable, and there are three things necessary to create a mandate. First, there should exist something which should be the matter of the contract. Secondly, that it should be done gratuitously. And thirdly, that it be done voluntarily. A mandate is ineffective unless agreed upon by the mandatory employee and becomes effective only if the employee voluntarily agrees to it. I go down from there, but I was trying to give people help on this. Sorry if I'm speaking too fast here. Yes, has never been isolated. 2021. I talked about look, Operation Northwoods. Look at that. Like, oh my God. Buying influence, how China manipulates Facebook and Twitter. Yeah, just wild times. I was calling out Kamala Harris even in 2020. She wasn't even the president or even up for presidency.
And it's in many cases reported to be much more serious in terms of its impact. And the vaccine will protect.
Oh, sorry.
This Delta variant, it spreads faster, and it is in many cases reported to be much more serious in terms of its impact. And the vaccine will protect you from it. And here's how I know. Virtually every person who is in the hospital, sick with COVID-19 right now, is vaccinated. Is vaccinated. Is vaccinated. I'm going to repeat that.
I'm going to repeat the line.
Virtually, it's a fact.
It's not a fact, lady.
Virtually every person who is in the hospital right now, sick with COVID-19, is vaccinated. Is vaccinated. Is vaccinated. Is vaccinated. And even more,
She's right about that.
incredibly, virtually every person who has recently died from COVID-19 was vaccinated. So
it is time, and it is time to roll up your sleeves and get the shot.
Yeah.
This Delta variant, it spreads faster.
Want to hear a joke? A pedophile and a convicted felon walk into a bar, but an unvaccinated person can't. Oh, funny. Fuck. I saw some hilarious things. Yeah, got into so much shit. CDC. I was showing blackface even years ago. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Fauci. I just wanted to get him because I shared, because even with Mark Carney, like I called this guy out 4 years ago, maybe 3.5, on like publicly. So this was like during the Freedom Convoy. I'm asking a favor of veterans in Ottawa this weekend. Come out. We know that we know what the risks are. We know what the game is, and we know how to get people to keep people to safety if needed for whatever reason, even frostbite. Laugh out loud. Let's make sure this stays safe and peaceful, Canada, CAF. And then I was tagging the Canadian Armed Forces and stuff like that because like I knew that there were people that were ready. Like for a response, a possible response if this got out of hand. But again, these were people that I was saying, crisis actors, plants, instigators, etc., that were also embedded in these crowds, like they always are, just like January 6th, and I called that out as well. And so we knew the fucking game, but like again, make it peaceful because people don't want it to be peaceful. And it was people like Marco Menincino and Bill Blair and these fucking idiots. Like I know I keep saying fucking idiots. Like they're likely not idiots. Like they're probably like very smart people. They are just not correct and a lot of things that matter, if that makes any sense. Yeah. It was sharing. Yeah. How they were blocking traffic cams because they didn't want people to see just how big it got. This is me and my friend Jen. We were on our way to the Freedom Convoy. This is when we linked up with the convoy before it got in Ottawa, and we followed them in and gave sandwiches and water and all that stuff. Yeah. They are. I thought like you're terrible actors. This was me responding to people that were again crisis actors, role players that were pretending to be instigators and like right-wing extremists and stuff like that. Again, to paint people quite differently than what the narrative is that they wanted us to believe. This was Jagmeet Singh. This is just so you can get on the friggin' record. Today we commemorate 5 years since a terrorist attacked and murdered Muslims in a Quebec City mosque. We said never again. And today, conservative MPs have endorsed a convoy led by those that claim the superiority of the white bloodline and equate Islam to a disease. And my post was Jagmeet Singh. I tagged him. You have been reported for hate speech, and then all that other stuff. Yeah. So he was on the wrong side of that as well. Lest we forget. Yeah. Quick call out to our peaceful warriors to be a little softer. Because there was people even within government that were getting really pissed off with all the stuff that was happening downtown. But I'm like, look, it's not like exactly who you think it is. Yeah, God, I was showing a lot of crisis actors during that time. This is me downtown. Yeah. Tell her what. In Ottawa today, we have seen Nazi and Confederate flags, racist and violent signs, Terry Fox and the Canadian War Memorial being desecrated, threats to break into Parliament, workers being harassed and threatened. And then I'm like, you are not helping. How dare you spread hate like this to veterans like me who risked my life? Yeah, and anyways, what's just going on? Like he was lying. Anyway. This was Michael Day. Michael Day, former Canadian Forces commanding officer or very high ranking. I think he was commanding officer. I don't know if they actually had it. That was an official title when he was going through. Works for Oz, AWZ, an AI cyber intelligence organization that works out of Toronto, that works out of Jersey City and Tel Aviv. This is him posting. So at what stage do the numbers of Nazis, bigots, white supremacists, etc. become so obvious that there can be no dismissing them as fringe elements? What number is too many? 5, 10, 20? How many is too many to excuse? Why is that number not 1? Yeah, I'm like, you're not helping. Not helping. And I tagged him, and he doesn't like me. And even on LinkedIn. Yeah. Tagging George Soros, Peter Downing, Diane Francis. Stop funding and intentionally organizing these movements in order to exploit and divide, using people who are trying to help stop this stuff, not just two sides. They fund all the movements on all sides. I even said BLM, Antifa. What a time. Doug Ford. This was 2022. Early 2022. This afternoon, I met with U.S. Ambassador Cohen at Queen's Park to discuss several items of mutual interest, including economic recovery, removing trade barriers, and strengthening the Ontario-U.S. relationship. Now you guys play sports. Anyway. U.S. senators and congressmen who lobby for Chinese military or Chinese intelligence-linked companies. No one got interested in that. I wonder why. I was talking about the election fraud. My account's getting deleted. And strikes. Yeah. Where's my post? I had like Mark Carney in there too. More of Trudeau's antics. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, this is obviously 2022 because it was Freedom Convoy time. Freedom Convoy time. All scripted messaging. people messaging me. The truckers dropped off a truckload of food to the shelter. That won't make the 6 o'clock news, that's for sure. I scrubbed who it was. That again, I had people talking to me and giving me updates, and people that are in government, people that are like retired, people from all walks of life were trying to help, while people within our government were fucking us over, and they're getting reelected. Yeah, Mark. Sorry, this was Chief Slowly, Chief of Police, giving him so much. Anyway, so much information. I talked about ivermectin. I shared Joe Rogan's stuff. Brenda Lucki. I called for Brenda Lucki's resignation even in 2022. I really tried to get on to get more publicity. Contacted so many different media outlets and stuff like that as well. And I think if people would have fucking listened to people like me, and again, it's not like that I'm so important, but just look at the information I was sharing, this would have never happened. Yeah. People better start looking at the memos their soldiers and officers are sending up to you. I also know many men and women in leadership positions who may not want information leaked regarding their personal lives. Your move and mandates, you are enabling harm and death. Go. Like, this is when I was getting more frustrated, right? Because I was giving memorandums, and I showed what I had given to soldiers and other government agencies, people that were opposed to the mandates and the lockdowns and the forced inoculations and were at risk of getting kicked out, and did get kicked out anyways. It didn't work. They were giving information they were giving memorandums, official military correspondence or government correspondence to their chain of command, and everyone was coming back saying that no one looked at it, no one was minuting it, there was no official action at all, despite the fact that even in the references, I linked the medical, scientific, and government data. And this is criminal to me. And so what we did was we started exposing people, that did interviews that they may not necessarily have wanted out. Again, it's not because we wanted to do it, but these people were causing a lot of harm. And what choice do we have? If you're not going to willfully resign or unfuck what you're doing and realize what you're doing is causing more harm than good, then unfortunately, the only way that we can try to get you to be removed from harming us is to try to shame you into stepping down, right? And that's not pretty. It's not ideal. It's not what people want to do. But unfortunately, it's the only option we have, because we know this has to be peaceful. No one within the fucking government in the legal departments are investigating this properly. Still not getting. I mean, that's a lie. It is now happening. So it's slow, but there are people within law enforcement in Canada and the U.S. now that are finally investigating and pushing for more investigations into what happened during certain events. And so, and people are starting to get. They've either resigned or been fired. But even that's not enough. These people need to be investigated. And there was a few other people anyways. Yeah. Yeah. I was calling out people who were towing the party line. Called out Mark Mendicino. Yeah, me again. The dangerous thing about beta keyboard warriors is that they don't understand the full extent of the chaos and death they invoke. They are too far removed to decide the fate of others. That responsibility is sacred. And I still stand by that. Again, setting the references. Name one essential service the mandate has been prevented you from accessing. Can't even write properly, but this was given to me. Leaving, traveling, working, neurofeedback just yesterday refused me, and I don't have COVID and healthy. No gym, etc. Are you actually trying to defend the mandates? Do you read my posts? just so much. I just want to get into. February 2022. That was the day the emergency act was declared. Ukraine says Russia is going to attack on the 16th of February. And it was already on my whiteboard for weeks, and so like I was just like that was just another like reinforcing. Leaked RCMP messages. Time for the protesters to hear our jackboots on the ground. Shared that. Scott Peever thought it was awesome that some people got trampled by mounted police. He's police. Again, like not everyone in law enforcement, in the military. I support these organizations obviously, and have worked with or within for over 23 years. And at this point, because we need to start exposing the people that are enabling this stuff, right? And so it's not comfortable, right? Because like people like him can retaliate easily, like not liking the fact that I'm sharing this information, and he has the full arm of the law, right? That's why there was this 2-tiered legal system. Anyone that was calling out people that were corrupted, yeah. This violence is unacceptable, and this intimidation is inexcusable. I strongly condemn this behavior in Canada. This is not how we express our differences or advance our causes. Yeah. 1 hour ago, this vile wretch has the gall to speak of violence and intimidation when his own citizens are being pepper sprayed, trampled by horses, and vilified. Get the fuck out of here. I didn't write that. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, man. Yeah, I was trying to get on Dr. Jordan Peterson, and that never happened. Russia gas exports to Europe via Ukraine spiked nearly 38% Thursday, Bloomberg reported. And I will say that people within Europe, they bought a lot of gas from Russia. And we're also giving aid to Ukraine. Very interesting how you assisted. Anyway. Volodymyr Zelensky is a Ukrainian politician, actor, and comedian who is the 6th and current president of Ukraine, serving since May 2019. I said, Ukraine leader has practiced playing the role. Actors at all levels. And then I talked about genie oil, to look into that. Yeah, we were so silenced. Ontario Health Minister Christine Elliott, again, she should be in jail, is accusing some doctors of spreading misinformation about vaccines. Elliott urged the College of Physicians to do everything possible to censor these doctors. I'm like, you need to be fired already. I'm almost done. I just wanted to show you some of my earlier stuff. Yeah. Government of Canada announced a significant investment in the Canadian semiconductor and photonics industry. $240 million will help solidify Canada's role as a global leader in photonics and will bolster the development and manufacturing of semiconductors. Now I want to talk about photonics. 3 years later, Anita Anand. Defend your freedom from tyranny to the benefit of the entire world. Defense Minister, this was at the time, and how was she? Oh my God. Anita Anand said Canada plans to send Ukraine an additional M72 rocket launchers Ukraine additional M72 rocket launchers and up to 7,500 hand grenades from the Canadian military stockpiles, on top of other lethal and non-lethal aid already announced. Ottawa will also supply 1 million worth of high-resolution satellite imagery to provide Ukraine the ability to monitor Russian force movements. Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland said Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's rallying cry that "I need ammunition, not a ride," will go answer, or whatever it was. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Canadian officials who met with Ukrainian unit linked to neo-Nazis feared exposure by news media. Documents. A year before the meeting, Canada's Joint Task Force Ukraine produced a briefing on the Azov Battalion, acknowledging its links to Nazis' ideologies. And I cited my references. Yeah. The Vanguard Group. Reasonable substantial evidence of racketeering and collusion perpetrated by Justin Trudeau, Chrystia Freeland, Jagmeet Singh, and other members of the federal and provincial governments, presented by Chris Vleck. There's the email. Proton. Content synopsis, page 1. Part 1, the Vanguard Group. Part 2, the World Economic Forum. Part 3, the Vanguard Group and government connections. Part 4, is Justin Trudeau a Vanguard Group owner or client? Question mark. Final statements. Post document supplemental. Very interesting read. Yeah, so DuckDuckGo. I was like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? The Lowell Observatory. Let's see here. Toroidal fields. They are the real viruses. Fauci, Gates, Schwab, Kissinger, Soros, Rothschild, Rockefellers. 2022. Okay, we're getting to it. I'm almost done with this. Like, I know that people... latest confidential papers released by Pfizer, April 1st, 2022, show that FDA knew about VAID in February of 2021. I shared that. Once again, too, because I also called up friggin' Mark Carney and Wayne Eyre as well. Pfizer's documents, yeah. Propaganda exposed in CDC. I talked about C-18, more censorship. World Economic Forum Canada, pilot partners of KTDI. Interesting. Calling out buzz. These are my old videos on YouTube that flood our globe Earth, pandemic response system. Well, the videos, they're all deleted now. World Economic Forum about the development of an individual carbon footprint tracker to monitor what you buy, what you eat, and how you travel. Yeah. me calling out Elon Musk, 2022. Of course, this guy creating and selling AI bots, Neuralink, and transhumanism is claiming that there will be even more fertility issues coming soon, and they need to replace humans with bots. While we have an issue with people wanting to work these days, Elon Musk, all by design. It's not like what he's saying isn't necessarily true at this point. We are having fertility issues, but we have to address and identify the reasons why. Universe 25. Yeah. Executive Director of Oxfam International at WEF. COVID has been one of the most profitable products ever. Sharing flat earth videos. More WEF. Albert Bourla. 9/11. Getting warned by people even 3 years ago. The dystopian future Trudeau is manifesting in Canada is coming to America if U.S. citizens don't get involved. They were already like threatening that like we are just like a security risk, and we wonder why. Even with all this Chinese like influence, again corrupted elitists at the higher up, like not like anyway. Yeah, I love Tonasel. He is so friggin' brilliant. This was me showing footage of different friggin' committees and excuse me. President of European Pharma, Giant Pharma, Mar is among 2,200 European elites charged with being falsely vaccinated against COVID-19. Yeah. Look who this is. Mark Carney. Mark Carney, ladies and gentlemen, 142 weeks ago. And again, this is just me posting it on my social media. Not stuff that I was able to post prior to for various different reasons. Yeah, and so like this is Mark Carney. Make no mistake, the money is now there if the world truly wants to arrest the climate crisis. Today, through the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero, GFANZ, over 130 trillion of capital from 450 plus firms across 45 countries is committing to transforming the economy. COP26. This is my comment. I would prefer you get arrested, to be honest. Yeah. And 2022. 3 years ago. And now, like again, the fucking writing was on the wall. It's so frustrating. Oh my goodness. And I went on from there. But anyway, I wish people within government would, like, I mean, I've done a bunch of contracts, multiple different levels, but I want to get at the international security advisor level, but to be briefing people like Wayne Eyre and Brenda Lucki and Justin Trudeau and stuff like that. It's not to be cocky. It's because, like, look at my fucking work. Like, it's, anyway, talk about the Bank of Canada. The Bank of Canada is in the same situation as an irresponsible person who went on a shopping spree and now has to cut down on the essentials. It's accepted it's all Canadians who will suffer inflation and a recession because it acted as Trudeau's credit card. 2022. Anyway, I can go on from there, but yeah, because it just get more. It's just more of the same. Everything that's been fucking happening. I guess stuff that I had been calling out before it even happened. Yeah, so now on to my stories, because they're interesting, I think. Yeah. I was just giving you a little bit of an example of things I had posted prior to, like, my Rumble videos. Yeah, that was me at the gym. That's when I was like really like competing like at the semi-pro level, looking at turning pro. But then when the lockdowns hit and the gyms were closed, but then all the competitions were also shut down unless you were vaccinated and stuff like that. And so I wasn't able to. And then I started to focus more on this stuff, getting content out and working other contracts and trying to anyway. Trying to get this information out there. So I thought it was more important than competing. Sorry, I don't know why it's taking so long to refresh. Let me go here. Okay.
Coming out of the woodwork. We got whistleblowers coming out of the woodwork, and we're funneling it into the right governmental offices to do the right things. And let me tell you, these people are busted. And so for Jim Comey, that's what I said earlier. Jim, if you get this message, start thinking about what you're gonna give up, because you're gonna give up some of your freedom, because you're gonna go to jail. You must go to jail because
you
of
must go to jail.
But maybe they'll cut you a little bit of a deal, and they'll put you in a softer prison for a shorter period of time, because you're able to to give up some evidence on some of these other people who are even more deeper than you involved in this. Because Jim, you know exactly who I'm talking about. We got whistleblowers coming out of the woodwork, and we're funneling it into the right governmental offices to do the right things. And let me tell you, these people are busted. And so for Jim Comey, that's what I said earlier. Jim, if you get this message, start thinking about what you're gonna give up, because you're gonna give up some of your freedom, because you're gonna go to jail. You must go to jail because of what you did.
Right.
But
repeat. This is funny. Was Satan unavailable? Breaking 9/11, just in, the Vatican has invited Chelsea Clinton, Dr. Fauci, not a fucking doctor, Fauci, New Age figure Deepak Chopra, who had a child lick his tongue. Oh no, wait, that was a Dalai Lama, never mind. Forget it, wrong person. Anyways, Deepak Chopra and the CEOs of Moderna and Pfizer to speak at a May conference focusing on health and the soul. And so Ian Haworth was like, was Satan unavailable? It was pretty freaking funny.
I have never heard of a country that developed on aid. If you know of one, just let me know. I know about countries that developed on trade and innovation and business. I don't know of any country that got so much aid and they suddenly became a first world country. I've never heard of such a country. So the track is wrong. That track ends to nowhere.
There is a school of thought out there that I don't agree with, where indeed people think they owe the poor people to give them money without thinking about how they are going to use this money. Aid leads to more aid and more aid and more aid and less independence of the people that are receiving aid. Second, there's a wrong notion for people who have money or who give aid. They feel good that they're helping, but the best way to help is to help people to be able to stand on their own.
Exactly.
Our governments are not encouraged to buy local. Now, when we talk to the international donor community, they say it's not their policy and that we're in cloud cuckoo land. When we talk to the government says, hey, we're not allowed to buy with donor money local products. That's just the way it is. It's their money, they decide who gets it. For example, 5 companies in Ghana got together to bid for a contract together. Now, everything was going very well. We were competent to do the work. Guess what happens? We're bidding against some European companies. One of the companies got their government to loan our government money, very soft loan, for the project. Our folks in the government said, hey, we love you very much. Nothing beats free money. We lost our money. You know what we ended up doing? We ended up working as subcontractors to the Europeans. They gave us the worst part of the business, the most difficult and least profitable part.
Happening all over the world, and it's going to happen in Ukraine now too with their minerals.
We wound up doing it because we were better at doing the work. So they got the best of both worlds. Their government paid. We ended up doing the work. They took the money. That's not development. That's not assistance. That's thuggery.
Yep.
I have never heard of a country that developed on aid.
And it's not even going to them. It's
CIA.
Money laundering. Julian Assange, I already spoke about him. A friggin' hero in my books, and I don't care what
CIA drew up plans to kidnap and to assassinate me within the Ecuadorian embassy in London and authorized going after my European colleagues subjecting us to theft, hacking attacks, and the planting of false information. My wife and my infant son were also targeted. A CIA asset was permanently assigned to track my wife, and instructions were given to obtain DNA from my 6-month-old son's nappy. The criminalization of news gathering activities is a threat to investigative journalism everywhere. I was formally convicted by a foreign power for asking for, receiving, and publishing truthful information about that power while I was in Europe. Journalists should not be prosecuted for doing their jobs. Journalism is not a crime. It is a pillar of a free and informed society. CIA drew up plans to kidnap and
Young people for a very long time have bought into the idea that to be radical is to be liberal and progressive and left-wing, when actually what a lot of young people don't realize is that they are buying into ideas and ideologies in the service of power. It's revolution brought to you by JP Morgan Chase, like, for example, Black Lives Matter, the climate stuff, the LGBT stuff. These are all elite projects. These are all things that are bought and paid for by the capitalist class. Whereas to be traditional and to be patriotic, proud of your nation and your history, that's what it means to actually be radical, because all of the institutions are arrayed against that view, from the universities to the NGOs to the government itself, the civil service, the corporations, the HR departments. So I put it to you, actually, that you and your beliefs and the kind of political faction that you represent are the unwitting foot soldier of the power structure that currently governs us.
Exactly.
And I am the radical and the dissident here.
Well said.
There's a reason that Gen Z have been so drawn. There's a reason that Gen Z have been so drawn, so vulnerable to the kind of identity politics peddled by the left. There's a reason that that's been so big over the last 10 or so years. And that's because we're a generation without identity. That's because we're a generation that's crying out for a sense of belonging and a sense of place and a sense of personhood. You know, these people who decry identity politics as such, I think they get it wrong, because people need identity. It goes back to the moral order that came into being in the aftermath of the Second World War, where fear of fascism and Nazism led us to kind of go so far in the other direction, where, you know, individual self-expression was held up as the ultimate good. What that's actually done is it's dissolved the bonds of kinship. All relationships have become transactional and contractual rather than covenantal. We've become so atomized, so individual. It's a loss of national identity. It's a loss of community. I would actually go as far as to say it's a loss of faith. It's a kind of godlessness in modern society. And it's left people feeling like they're just wandering through the wilderness. There's a reason that
This was just so good. This guy is very profound. He looks young too, like very impressive. And that's it for my.
We got whistleblowers coming out.
I believe. Let me just go through.
there's a reason that Gen Z have been so
So I will shut that down, and so you can see me. I will say that it's not even just Gen Z and stuff like that. Like this this psyops or propaganda, I don't even know what you would want to call it, has impacted people at all levels. And so like I even like I've experienced it myself, but there's even people that I know, women I know, that they're because everything is more online now, and it's been very, very hard for people to meet organically because of various different reasons. And we have it where, like, on dating sites, like the men that are like the more like attractive or fit or whatever, like the top 5%, they usually obviously get like the most women that swipe right. And like, so that means like 95% of the men in that pool, they're not even given the opportunity or a chance to even discuss or have any communication with women and stuff like that. So there's that. But even like a friend, for example, she's in her mid 30s, and she has been someone who, like so many other women I know, myself included, that were in long-term relationships, that wanted the family, that wanted to be married, that wanted to have the children, all that stuff. And in our relationships, either we were cheated on, and so many other complications and problems and stuff like that, and then decided that they did not want to have children, or kept on delaying and not realizing that women have a biological clock that ticks and things like that. And so anyway, she was on the dating site, even though she hasn't dated in like over a year and a half, and she's not out partying, she doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke, she works out, she's super healthy. She again, like she believes in God, all these things. She's religious. and she had a guy that commented on her profile. They didn't even communicate yet, but communicated on this dating site, and said that if you had essentially like good morals and values, you wouldn't be childless and unmarried and single at your age. And this guy was actually older than her with no kids either and not married and obviously on a dating site, so single. And again, like just to say that and without knowing at all who she is as a person, like that was his assumption. That's the assumption of a lot of people, not even just here, but people like the media that they get like about Western societies, is that women are sluts and all this other stuff. And it's because of things like porn and OnlyFans, where such a very, very small, sexually deviant, I will add, portion of society, and also people getting exploited and groomed, even children. Okay, we got to look into this stuff. That it's it makes a lot of money and there's a lot of viewers, right? But who are the viewers that are looking at this? Who are the people that are like largely supporting and enabling this content, right? It is men. Not to sound sexist or anything like that. And then there's this like misinterpretation of like women in like the 95% of women or 98% of women within like the society that are not at all like that or practicing those things. And then you have it on these ridiculous friggin' forums on social media now, especially these podcasters and influencers, where they have women on that are part of that demographic, specifically not representing women, the majority of women at all, not even close. And this is what people think is the majority. And again, it's just a little bit more misinformation. And men, even in their 30s and 40s, not wanting to settle down and have children with one woman. And I think it's also because it's been socialized, right? Like when you have access to so many dating sites and you can like just swipe right until like you get like whoever, then there's so much more convenience to cheat. Not only because of the online dating sites and stuff like that and social media, but also like looking at OnlyFans or porn sites and stuff like that too, to varying degrees of cheating. Or anyways, not focusing on your relationship. Going on a rant. Anyway, Doug Ford. So this is my post on LinkedIn. Doug Ford, who under his leadership forced illegal mandates, lockdowns, and the COVID shot on the entire province for years, has now been rewarded for his terrible performance by being reelected. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, he was reelected yesterday. I did not vote for you, Doug, and I hope you finally get investigated for the harm you have done to this province and country. Financially, under you, we are worse off than ever before, while your decal business flourished as you exploited a pandemic. You cheated on your wife multiple times with staffers that we know about. You had more protected lands and trees surrounding suburbs destroyed than any other premier before you, and your main business partners are not even Canadian. How can we say Canada deserves better when we reward the worst politicians and leaders even after they have worsened our lives in many significant and criminal ways? How can we say we deserve better? We just voted him in again. It's laughable. If you voted for Doug because you are a die-hard conservative who cannot fathom another choice, maybe you puppets need to understand how serious you have fucked us over in Ontario. This was a provincial election, not federal, where the majority of Liberals and NDP MPs are corrupted and also many Conservatives. How do you like your money funding genocides and crimes against humanity that only profits the military, pharmaceutical, industrial tech complex? Doug has also supported the proxy wars with our money. Ukraine, the ghost of Kiev was a lie. Snake Island Ukrainian soldiers dying was a lie. Burn babies was a lie. Nord Stream and Nord Stream 2 were blown up by NATO and Ukraine criminals. The Polish farmers died by Ukrainian air defense missiles, etc. Ontario, this is why hundreds of thousands of middle-class Canadians have fled since COVID and continue to. The housing market is also being impacted by the unsustainable foreign temporary worker, student visa, and LGBTQIA alphabet refugee programs. I could go on, but I have made content on Rumble for a few years showing the evidence. You are being lied to by all levels of government, and unfortunately, despite LinkedIn being a site where people in my industry can collaborate, the majority of content is propaganda. So that was my point today. I was just a little upset. I didn't mean to be so dramatic, but it's just like I cannot believe that Doug Ford got voted in again, and it's just by minions and fucking puppets that are just like, I can't vote for anything but conservative. I don't even care who like, we just needed another option. We literally just rewarded bad behavior, and it's like we are politicizing our fucking freedom, and it's anyway. It is what it is. I'll get into this because I did copy and paste this BitChute video and I want to share it with you on behalf of Sydney Silver, who passed away a couple of years ago, I believe. So, and she was someone that was in the truther community. Excuse me. And so this was the last post that she had shared. And so I want to share it. I know it's a long video, but give credit where credit's due. Space Busters. This was posted obviously a few years ago. 3 years ago. All right.
Mind is in its most receptive mode.
All rights reserved. We reserve all rights.
Put it on.
Warning. Buckle up. Things are about to get very real.
It's just too soon to tell. We've just got to concentrating on continuing to get.
Yeah, Canada, we have been involved in a lot, like at the government level and high. We've been involved in a lot of corruption, including also covering up for the moon landings, the shape of the earth, MK Ultra stuff, like so many psyops and propaganda campaigns that have been implemented from our friggin' governments. Yeah.
Get those numbers down.
Go get vaccinated, America. Go and get the vaccination. They're available. You're eligible now. When I was sworn in on January 20th, less than 1% of the seniors in America are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. 100 days later, 70% of seniors in America.
Yeah, I should stop smoking. I'm gonna start to reduce friggin' cigars. Like, oh my god, I used to I just started like not even a year ago. It's such a friggin' terrible habit. I will agree with that. I do agree.
They're here. My bed.
Sweetie, remember last night? Do you remember when you woke up and you said they were here?
Uh-huh.
Well, who did you mean? Who's here?
The TV people. You're stoned.
The longer a person watches television, the more easily the brain slips into alpha level, a slow, steady brainwave pattern in which the mind is in its most receptive mode. Images and suggestions are implanted directly into the mind without viewer participation. Images and suggestions are implanted directly into the mind without viewer participation. An effective hypnosis is induced. An effective hypnosis is induced. An effective hypnosis is induced. And the viewer surrenders to the unending television image stream.
In the 1960s through the early 1980s, American television stations used to sign off at midnight and shut their transmitters down until 6 a.m. By this time, anybody still awake and watching was already in a hypnotic and suggestive alpha wave brain state from watching hours of mind-numbing programs and were treated to a most bizarre phenomenon. It started out with the seal of the president of, well, your United States? Definitely not our United States or the United. Well, you tell me, what the hell is that? This person makes presidential seals for a living when 1896 printing technology looked like this 70 years earlier? And then came, of all things,
our national anthem.
There are two obviously
Right, I just wanted to reiterate. I'm gonna share this. Don't worry, but because it was a tweet that I posted, and I gave it. I didn't share it with you, even though I should have. But it's something that I sent to a friend on Signal. but also, sorry, I wanted to also stress the importance with on the 14th of February, I said that there was a likelihood that Russia was possibly going to invade Ukraine, or against that was the narrative that was going to be pushed. That was 10 days before it happened. And so I showed you the post. It was posted on the 14th of February, and I'm just going to share it, and you can Google it yourself. And again, I don't believe this is exactly what happened. I believe the CIA was involved in the staged and planned coup in 2014, and since then they've been involved in corruption and also aided and enabled this proxy war to happen in Ukraine as well. But anyways, when did Russia invade Ukraine? 24 February 2022. So that was literally 10 days after I had called it. And so that's just one example of many, like I will reiterate that I was calling even before it happened, including with what happened in Israel and Palestine as well. Yeah. And so anyways, my only point to this stuff is like, stop hiring firms that have blatantly showed that they've been incorrect with a lot of things. I even showed Michael Day, like even in 2022, 21 or 2020, whenever it was, like I was calling him out regarding what he shared regarding friggin' calling people like Nazis and all white supremacists and like pushing like the COVID stuff. Like, you're part of the intelligence agency types. And that's like, he has he has a lot of contacts at really high levels internationally as well, like more than me. Getting it wrong. So why do we continue to hire these people? Why are people like me not getting hired?
Ridiculous things about
telling
this.
the truth.
The first is that the national anthem is only ever sung at major sporting events, with tens of thousands of people getting hyped up on the nationalistic, patriotic crack pipe in order to explode in a religious fervor of ecstasy and applause as a sort of cheap, free warm-up act for the big game. So it is a very peculiar choice to show to a bunch of zombied out midnight television watchers who should be going to sleep, not having an ecstatic, uplifting pseudo-religious experience well past bedtime. The second comical thing is that the whole point of the national anthem is the sung words, but the sign-off was only instrumental, and the words scrolled across the screen at the bottom of patriotic images of the homeland. But who wants to squint and read karaoke lyrics at midnight? And who would even bother singing along at that hour? As an American, we all know the words by heart anyway. Who doesn't know their national anthem? It certainly wasn't to teach children, because they were long asleep by midnight. Another sinister thing to note is that Steven Spielberg used this sign-off twice in the opening of his 1982 film Poltergeist. He either used one of the other versions, of which there were a few, or he recreated his own version. But the scrolling lyrics are absent from both of his versions, and all demonic hell breaks loose right after these sign-offs play. Why? Was he cryptically trying to tell us something? Shortly after this time, in the late 80s, the filmmaker John Carpenter made a film called They Live, in which the main character, played by Rowdy Roddy Piper, finds a special pair of glasses that allows him to see the actual subliminal messages behind all signs, advertising, billboards, marketing, magazines, and mainstream media. Many years later, just before his death, Rowdy Piper began going on conspiracy talk shows like Alex Jones and sending out strange tweets like, They Live was a documentary, not a fictional fantasy dystopian film. Like Spielberg, was John Carpenter trying to tell us something? When we slow down the scrolling words to the national anthem sign-off as they change to each new line, we get a chilling yes to that question. Did you see it? You did, but you don't know you saw it. The words are, "Oh, say can you see, by the dawn's early light." There is no trust in either of those sentences.
Why are you using Google? Togoda, the only 100% private thematic AI search engine in the world, is here.
Miss this. But first, we notice that they almost always repeat every saying twice in a row, an effective subliminal suggestive technique. So far, they've told us 5 times that God is real and God is watching, 4 times to believe in government, God, twice to trust the U.S. government, 8 times to obey and consume, and 4 times that rebellion is not tolerated. In other words, they are programming people to believe that the government is their God. The government is real and the government is watching them, and that they have to trust the government, obey the government, constantly consume, which obviously means having to constantly work to buy things, and thus pay the government taxes on both the income and the goods. And by the way, the government God won't tolerate rebellion, so don't even try it. But back to the anthem. Now that they've established that they are our God, they command us to worship them. But now they throw in a strange double subliminal written at the same time over the other one. As usual, we get it repeated twice in a row. By Ultra, by Naomi. And then for the first time, they make it perfectly clear. Do not question the government, while showing a flag hanging over the land of the free.
Why is that, ladies?
Oh yeah, you're free, just not to question the government. So what does By Ultra, by Naomi mean? Why is it even there? MK Ultra was a program of experiments on human subjects undertaken by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency that delved into areas of brainwashing, which was coordinated with the United States Army Biological Warfare's laboratories. It ran from 1953 until it was officially halted in 1973 and engaged in illegal activities, including the use of U.S. citizens as its unwitting subjects. MK Ultra used numerous methods to manipulate its subjects' mental states and brain functions, which included hypnosis and verbal abuse. Obviously, you can't literally buy MK Ultra, so the term buy must be a slang or synonym for believe, trust in, buy into MK Ultra. But what about By Naomi? Project MK Naomi was a joint DoD-CIA research program lasting from the 1950s through the 1970s. It is generally reported to be a successor to the MK Ultra project, focusing on biological projects, including biological warfare agents. The goal was to have a robust arsenal of lethal and incapacitating materials within the CIA's Technical Service Division, today known as the OTS, or Office of Technical Service. This would enable the OTS to serve as a center for supplying biological and chemical materials. The U.S. Army's Special Operations Command was assigned to assist the CIA with the development, testing, and maintenance procedures for these biological agents and delivery systems. Both the CIA and SOC modified guns to fire special darts coated with biological agents and poisonous pills. A 1967 CIA memo, which was uncovered by the Church Committee, contained evidence of at least 3 covert techniques for attacking and poisoning food crops. The million-dollar question: why was a secret biological weapons division like MK Naomi involved in a film with subliminal messages, telling people in a TV-induced comatose suggestive state to believe their government is God, to trust, obey, and worship it constantly, and to constantly consume? Consume what? Poison, pesticide-laced GMO crops and poisonous darts?
Yeah. I mean, my personal thing is you get blow darts of J&J, and again, I'm a little cynical. Blow darts of J&J? Yeah, Johnson & Johnson. What do you mean? Like, go to the unvaccinated, blow it into them, blow dart it into them. Yeah. That's where I am at this point.
The project most likely got its name from the Old Testament story of Ruth and Naomi, when a famine occurred in Israelite Naomi's land of Bethlehem in the days when the judges ruled, much like today. To escape the famine, Elimelech moved his wife Naomi and their 2 sons to the country of Moab. Naomi's husband Elimelech means "my God is king." The move was difficult because of the bitter strife between the Israelites like Naomi and the Moabites. The Moabites had never...
All right. I think this is fairly redundant for most people on my show. So I want to get back on my Instagram because again, like just to reiterate, I was going to go, I'm looking for, I'm going to share my post. I'm going to reshare my post regarding me calling out the Russia-Ukraine war, even on the record as early as even 10 days before it even happened. And, but even with that, I was calling out Ben Shapiro lying about the burned body, the charred bodies. And, even before he posted that, within, as soon as he posted it is what I meant to say. It was already getting circulated. And then first daylight footage of release of the damage done to Al Aliyah Hospital. How did 500 people die in a parking lot? ? And then I was sharing too, because I shared proof on Rumble about what actually happened. Was there a hospital attack? Like it's one of my titles on my videos. Take a look at that. And then even Melanie Jolie, even afterwards, bombing a hospital is an unthinkable act, and there's no doubt that doing so is absolutely illegal. So she, working as a member of parliament, has no idea what happened even days after, and still working in government. And she was also one of the nominees, like originally, to be the leader of the Liberal Party of fucking Canada. Always got everything wrong. Okay, Justin Trudeau. I'm horrified by the loss of life at Al Ali Arab Hospital in Gaza. My thoughts are with those who lost loved ones. It is imperative that innocent civilians be protected and international law upheld. Together we must determine what happened. There must be accountability. Must be accountability. This is me. Yellen says U.S. can afford 2 wars because she gets a 20% friends and family discount from Raytheon. That's pretty funny. Anyway. I do. God, this video is already so friggin' long. SPARS. Talked about SPARS in previous videos. How are you getting that? Well, because there's already been the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, the SPARS pandemic 2025-2028, a futuristic scenario for public health risk communicators. Just like Event 201 and other things, Johns Hopkins, Cambridge, etc. Propaganda on all the names of the people here as well. Again, this is not a conspiracy theory. These are training exercises that are programs that are created that conveniently shortly after these exercises, things of similar style seem to happen. After 201, tabletop exercise 201 at Johns Hopkins University, I think it was the 18th of October of 2019. Within months, there was a pandemic declared, and it was very similar to even the fake journalists and stuff like that were like reporting on the fake Event 201 scenarios. Very similar to what people were saying. Excuse me. During COVID. Scenario environment. In the year 2025, the world has become simultaneously more connected yet more divided. Nearly universal access to wireless internet and new technology, including internet accessing technology (IAT), thin, flexible screens that can be temporarily attached to briefcases, backpacks, or clothing, and used to stream content from the internet, has provided the means for readily sharing news and information. However, many have chosen to self-restrict the sources they turn to for information, often electing to interact only with those whom they agree. This trend has increasingly isolated cliques from one another, making communication across and between these groups more and more difficult. No shit. Anyways, it goes on from there. That's just setting the stage. The response. The SPARS outbreak begins, chapter 1. And then again, it always starts with media and an article, the St. Paul Chronicle, third death in week due to unknown illness in Twin Cities. And then it goes from there. Let's see what the date is, October 17th, 2025. $10.27. No, sorry, 10:17. Anyway, talked to the CDC, like what they would put in, like for posts. Holiday travel plans? Stop SPARS by washing your hands and avoiding public places if you feel sick. I was calling out SPARS, and then even the dates, like even during, I think it was like 2020 was the earliest, or 2021. Anyway. That SPARS training scenario was developed in 2017. by the way, just so we're clear on that. People talking about SPARs too, getting called conspiracy theorists. Wash your hands. Cyber Monday instead. If you feel sick, shop on Cyber Monday instead. Oh my God. Fucking promoting advertisements. Anyway. Health Alert Network. Distributed via the CDC Health Alert Network. Anyway, CDC, 2 thumbs down. Yeah. But not a thing, apparently. I was a little floored when I read this title. Buzz's long lost brother has questions. I only watched like about 25 minutes of it, but wow. Wow. Well done, Flat Earth Dave, like getting this friggin' interview. If that's
directions,
long lost
but
brother.
never once did two stars change position. All right, balls in your park.
And I am, yeah, this whole debacle now with like people from the truther community, like incredibly divisive, like now on different sides of the shape of the earth and all this stuff because of various experiments. And again, I respect what people, you know what I mean? Like I respect people's freedom to share information that they believe to be true, freedom of speech and all that stuff. I just wish that people would take a little bit more consideration into doing a lot more research before they go on social media platforms just to deny facts in reality. And anyway, I don't want to get too much into it. I don't want to be controversial.
Arc.
I already am.
All right. Well, of course, first I had to ask you about Aaron. I mean, like, that had to be quite a shock, huh?
It's a little shocking. You know, his behavior is very strange. I don't know what's going on with him. It's super suspect, but I don't really have much to say about it.
Me either.
I mean, it's got to be something that seems to me had to occur a long time ago.
Could be.
For this all to play out the way it did.
It could be. I don't know. He started not was unwilling to get on the phone with me, which he used to be for about a month or so before TFE. He would only text me, and I couldn't get him on the phone. I'm not sure if it happened then or before. I'm not sure what it is.
Oh well.
Excuse me. Sorry.
I guess that's one of the things that I never would have predicted. That
me neither.
No matter what you experience, how can it wipe out everything else? I mean,
it doesn't make any sense to me. But you know, we can just talk about what does make sense, and you know, let people have their journey.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Are you like a one-man show? You do all this yourself?
Pretty much.
All the video editing and selecting.
He's a rock star.
The videos of the day and everything.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'll do it all.
Damn. I'm pretty amazed, man. I got to tell you how much I've enjoyed. It was October of 24 when I first saw you on Sons of Liberty.
Okay.
And it was like 10 minutes in, it was like, you got to be kidding. And it was the curvature rate. I mean, as soon as I heard that 8 inches per mile squared, it's just like, no, can't be. I mean, I've seen too many things that dispute that idea. And so I actually planned on proposing to you till I found out you were married.
Proposing to me?
Yeah.
We'll just leave that. We'll let that one go by.
I mean, there's not many people you can talk to about flat Earth.
Well, there's lots of people you can talk to if you look on the friend.
I think he was saying that, you know, that he was going to propose to him because, like, for a lot of people, like when they wake up to the reality, well, to our I know the Earth is being projected on a flat plane of reality or inertia, and that it's some kind of a contained environment, that pressurized gaseous environment, where electricity and magnetism express itself through the ether, and the ether I'm talking about particles. At various densities, pressures, and temperatures. And so when a lot of people like wake up to the reality of the world, so many different things getting debunked, foundations completely being collapsed. People tend to look at the people that woke them up as like it's hard to explain, as like their most trusted person in their lives, right? Because everyone else in their lives, they believe, lied to them or misled them. And when you get the truth, like with something so significant, right? Like that's so like life altering, life changing, then yeah, it's just very interesting. Yeah. So even with me, with yeah. Anyway.
Finder, what state are you located in?
I'm in Louisiana.
Oops, I'm offline right now. The Louisiana would be, well, I can't really get there that quickly, but Louisiana is over here, right?
So that's Buzz Aldrin, like allegedly his brother. I'm gonna like further confirm if that's true or not, because if it is, he looks a lot like him, right? That's pretty wild. And so I was just lasers were just being talked about, and I was going to show that video. I was debating on it because of who's in it, but or no, actually that was another video that he was in. And since he's not a flat earther anymore, like I didn't know if he'd even want that video to be shared. I won't say who it is, but I'm trying to respect his new journey. And we see two cars, Flatlanders. That's a good one. And there are people in here. It's like sad that are dead. You know, rest in peace, and died young, right? With anyway, controversial in some regards with Rob Skiba too. Oh my God.
We're headed toward Wendover, Utah, near the Nevada line. This ancient lake bed is so flat and level that you can see the curvature.
The Bonneville Salt Flats. Unique, dangerous, a strangely brutal and very beautiful land.
And what it is nothing. It's just flat, big, flat salt.
Well, a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. That's the title of a video that I watched on YouTube. You can see astronauts hanging from wires, proving that astronauts and NASA are liars. They analyze photos and highlight mistakes with the moon landing missions. They show it was.
Are you guys keep flashing. I'm seeing that. I'm just trying to see where to look. I want to see where the ether band is near.
Oh, yeah.
We're losing this whole area right there.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of miraging happening.
Does it block it enough we can actually see?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But there's like an ether band. This was moving. There was something here.
Oh, yeah. Because that's like the that's like a miraging effect happening that you normally see over the dry surfaces.
Well, but no, there's something on to the right of that, to the right here. Like this, there's a brown blob there.
Oh, I see it.
There's something, I don't know if there's something standing there or what. But...
Well, where is the Utah? Is it not on this road?
Yeah, it's over there on the other.
It's on that side?
Okay, that's not there.
Yeah, good question. So do we want to maybe angle it down a little bit and see?
Yeah, make sure it goes up in the air too, because
up in the air and side to side.
Okay, rolling.
Okay, rolling. So we're at the Salt Flats, and we are doing an observation, a mirror flash, of a distance of 35.6 miles. Sydney Silver is down at the west end, and we're down here on the east end, and we're going to be flashing mirrors. And over this distance, you shouldn't be able to see any straight line mirror shots. Because there's going to be a huge bulge in the middle. Could you do like some jumping up and down for us? We're trying to see if we can see you in this P900.
Okay.
Could you jump up and down for us? We think we got something, but
jumping.
Can you see it?
Okay.
Do you see any mirror flashing?
No.
We don't see any mirror flashing yet, so, and we don't see you
There's
jumping.
major ether band happening.
There's
up
a
there.
little, there's a major ether band happening. We're getting some miraging.
My name is Ryan Walker. My Flat Earth journey. Flat Earth journey probably came to a head in 2015 at some point. I don't have that mark of day that it actually happened, but I know the journey it took once I got it into my head that something's not making sense here. And then I researched it. It really came across with the curvature for me. The curvature, or lack thereof, after studying what it should be and how it should be detectable very easily. I was a software engineer, and we did a lot of distance calculation, geomapping and geopoint mapping. So I started playing around in my head with how we made calculations of point-to-point distances because we had to map real estate properties. And it just started not making sense. And the big realization is we can see much further than we should be able to see based on the actual distances they tell us we're seeing at. If you see a boat go over the curvature, you can't see it anymore because it's gone over the horizon, over the curvature. To measure when that actually happens, you can put a formula to it scientifically based on what? The circumference of the whole globe. The calculation of 8 inches per mile squared of curvature, okay, calculate that by 3 miles, that 6 feet, 72 inches should be over the curve. You should not be able to see them. What we actually see is the way our eyes work. We see in perspective. And everybody knows this. If you've taken any art classes, you understand how perspective works. You can draw a picture based on perspective because everything goes to a vanishing point that our vision can't, you can't see any further than that. But now with technology that everyone has access to, you can take a zoom camera. I have a Canon 7D. You can zoom in on something, bring it right back into focus. It's not just past 6 feet, it's hundreds of miles. That either tells us their calculation of a 25,000 mile circumference of the globe is inaccurate, or it's just false.
I feel like this sunlight's very dim.
It does feel that way, Sydney. I agree.
Yeah, I've never really seen it work when it's like this.
And they're spraying all this chemtrail stuff. It's like, it's kind of inhibiting some of the...
Yeah, it does look a little hazy and it's a dim sun.
We're going to wrap up and then we're going to come back and shoot the lasers. So since there was some interference in the road, it's inconclusive of what we actually captured. We're going to go back and look at our footage and see what we got.
Well, my Flat Earth journey began in the year 2015. This guy says, this is a compilation of ideas from the Flat Earth theory. So we're watching this time and time again for the whole weekend, you know, from Friday night saying, did he say flat Earth, to around Sunday evening, we're like, I'm pretty sure the Earth is flat. The initial response that I got was pretty much what everyone gets when they discuss flat Earth. You know, you're crazy. Are you kidding? You did graduate from school, right? Have you heard about gravity? Things like that. These kind of condescending tones that people take with us. You know, I would ask people if they ever actually felt the motion of the Earth. You know, if they knew what the circumference of the Earth was and the formula to calculate the Earth's curvature. I would ask them those questions, and more than half of them had no idea. There was one experiment or observation that I did with a friend of mine from work, and he comes to me one day and tells me that he has a laser that has a range of 12.5 miles. And we ended up finding two places. One was in Owen Beach in Tacoma, and another point was at Saltwater State Park in Des Moines, Washington. Over that stretch of water is 10.3 miles. And I was doing a live stream. I had about 150 people on that in the chat. And we were on the phone with each other across the water, and just as clear as anything you've ever seen, we were able to see the origin source of that laser due to the lack of curvature. It was obviously direct line of sight.
10 miles away, right? Yep. That's 10 miles away, folks. Boom. There it is.
That's suspicious. So, do you still believe we went to the moon? Do you still believe what they're telling you? Just connect the dots and pretty soon you'll find out what I found out too. But if you question this stuff, you'll be labeled a loon. You'll be called a conspiracy theory buffoon, but I don't care, man. I'm still gonna make this too, because I know that we didn't go to the moon.
What if you swore in the Bible that you walked on the moon? You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't.
So I'm not trying to get from me to there.
Right.
I'm trying to get the distance from the ending of that mountain.
Okay,
to
got
the
it.
beginning
Okay,
of that mountain.
Cindy, I'll do that.
Yep. And then from the ending of it over there, because
See,
I got
so-
shot from there
Yeah.
to there. Okay, but how long is that to that?
Okay, well then this is, let me just take that off there.
So we're trying to figure out the
Off
distance
there.
from this mountain range to the
that
base of that
mountain
mountain
range,
range,
and
right?
I
then
believe this
from
is
that
the
mountain
two mountain
range-
ranges you're talking about. See, from here to here.
So we
24.
just got 24 miles.
Oh, get a
Yeah.
copy. Can you get a screenshot of
Yeah.
that?
So what we're looking at is behind us. There's 2 points with the mountains between the mountains we can see with our naked eye. And it's 24 miles basically.
And
between
Sydney
those
got
two-
a picture
those
of
2
it.
points. Yeah.
Okay, I just took a picture of the horizon.
Yep.
And between that mountain is 24 miles. So there should be a huge curvature right here, but we're not seeing a hump and we're not seeing the edges bend down. It's completely flat. So I just snapped a picture from there to there. And we got the mileage on it. So you can take calculations on.
I go by Jay Tolman. I'm an engineer, RF. Also did other stuff, mechanical, physics. Right now, I'm an electronic warfare engineer. I support defense contractors. I was at a classified meeting one time, and I saw a map projection that I had never seen anywhere else. And that was in the early stages when I began to wake up. And I realized what's going on. Then I seen some very strange data that I was processing from a classified payload. And I realized, oh my God, whoa, something's strange here. Since I'm an engineer, I said, I'm going to measure the curvature because it's a fun project, something I've never done. And I'll show everybody how it's done.
What got you into photography and specifically infrared photography?
Well, so I quickly realized that I need to see farther. Right, all the measurements that I had seen in other videos, they're at sea level and they're just a few feet, 100 feet, maybe a few miles out. And I realized, well, we got to see a lot farther than that. When I realized I couldn't purchase any of this military grade equipment because they're ITAR controlled, I decided to try a night shot camera. And I had one like 20-year-old camera. So I came out here one time, just out of curiosity, if I can see a little farther. And I was just blown away. I could see the mountains behind us out there. And that's when I got really excited. And I said, okay, I got to purchase better equipment. So then I ended up purchasing, I don't know, like 3-4 different cameras, including this one and the 4K camcorder. When I looked out east, that's when I saw San Jacinto and the other mountains, Mount Baldy and the Arrowhead Mountain, and I was just blown away. So on a clear day, you can see, I don't know, it could probably double the distance. On a clear day, let's say you can see 80 miles, like right now you can see those mountains. Probably see 160, almost 200 miles if it's really clear. And the best time is in the wintertime when a lot of moisture is condensed, and the atmosphere is clear and dry, then you can see the farthest in infrared. So by seeing farther, right, now you can have more conclusive measurements of, what's hidden behind the supposed curve, right? And you can do more precise experiments with a higher confidence level than otherwise. longer distance translates to more conclusive calculations of, the curvature, if there's any curvature. I went on top of Mount San Jacinto, took the tram up there, and they have a plaque up there that says on a clear day you can see Mount Charleston at about 175 miles away. From Fraser Mountain, I saw about 185 miles. And from White Mountain up north, I saw some land features towards Colorado, which I think are close to about 200 miles away. A lot of my coworkers, they're listening, they're interested in science if you present it correctly, but then they also go along with the jokes and stuff. I have a bunch of jokes taped to my to my office. Even the birthday card that I got, they took some flat Earth jokes and they posted on there. But some are very interested and they know what I'm talking about, and some have corroborated from their work what I had seen.
See too far.
Okay, so the plan right now is we've got the lasers put on the tripod. We've got two of them, the blue and the green, and we've got them sort of both pointing the same direction. And I'm going to walk down there, leveling a laser. The bubble laser the bubble level just doesn't cut it for any distance at all. So I'm going to try and walk down there maybe 50 yards or so. And I know the laser is right about here on me. I'm going to see where it is out there, where the center of the beam is out there at 50 yards. And that'll be pretty good. And we go down, by the time we get to a mile with the car, then we can see if it's still about the same height or if it's up or down. We'll be leveling it all the way down there. So we're just in the initial leveling right now. I'm going to paste it out here.
35 miles away, the other end?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Can you see me now? Hear me now?
Oh, is that Daisy Blue? Wait, oh, there. Yeah, I got it. Right there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
There. Now turn it. There. Hold right there. Right there. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't move it. That's it. It's right in our eyes. Beautiful.
All right, 5 miles.
Okay, we're at the 10-mile mark after a little hiatus there. So this is showing 10 miles, and there is the altitude, 4206. So it's very close to what we were, and the date and time, and of course the coordinates of ground positioning system.
There it is. Yeah. That's
10 miles down. Oh, no, that's good.
10 miles, got it.
10 miles laser.
Yep.
Right in the eyes.
Yep. Very bright. All right, 10 miles. Fire to is that
That's a
yep.
blue.
Oh yeah. You look
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yep.
That's
Okay, do it again. So this is great. We got a two-way blue. Oh, you see the blue and the green.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Is that picking it up on that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's you can see it better even with the eyes. It's just
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Oh, it's way
so
cool. It's totally
freaking
clear.
beautiful. Are we getting video on here?
Yeah. You can see you. Yeah. There's
Okay,
sound.
cool.
There's sound. You can see
This
you.
is great. 17.5 miles, man.
Yep.
Setting up at 25 miles. The altitude showing 4221.
Okay.
Tell him to turn it off.
25 miles. Turn it off?
Yeah, I just
Turn it off?
turn off the laser. Yeah, I just want to make sure that's.
Turn off the laser.
Wait, which? Turn it back on.
Okay, go back on with it, okay?
Oh,
There it is.
That white light is really throwing me off. The big white lights on the freeway are throwing me off.
Yeah, well, okay, we got the blinking right, we got the blinking tower, and we have the red lights beside it. They're to the left of that.
See, look how it's purple. I think we see you fine. But that's them.
Okay, we're gonna try to lock you on then.
Okay.
So you have to tell us when you're.
We got it. We see you guys. There it is.
She passed away. It's so sad. She did so much.
This is Shelley's position where we were seeing the laser from. That's the exact GPS and the odometer. And from us, it says 35.5.
Yeah, you're right. You're right close to the red lights.
Yep. Do two together. Can you do two together, David?
Yeah.
You see it? You see it?
Yep. Oh, there it is. Boom. Just leave it right there. We got it. We got it. Just leave it right there. Right there. Yep.
35 miles away, and people are not going to like this, or maybe will. I don't know. I like to be thorough, so I'm going to show you the Earth curve calculation algorithm, whatever you want to call it, that the Globers provide. Hey, how come it didn't come up? Just 1 second here. Oh, it's made a waterfall. That's very interesting. Why did that pop up? So weird. That's not what I had up. It's not even in the same folder. Weird. Anyway, well, let's see here. Here we go. So this is the Pythagorean proof of curvature for a ball with a radius of 3,959 miles, 8,000 miles in diameter. So this is exactly what they say the dimensions of the Earth are, the size of the Earth is, and this has not been corrected, even as of today, in any NASA government scientific publication or anything like that. And the fact that we would require necessarily a physical geographic curve to have that downward slope in order to even create the shape of a globe, like this is how they derive these calculations, right? It's and so if you see here, they have it broken down by geometric construction, by mile, feet, and inches. And then so you'll see here at 3 miles, there would be allegedly 6 feet of curvature. So taller than me already. We're getting there. So 10 miles, 66.68 feet of curvature. How tall are you? That's at 10 miles away. You go to like 30 miles away, over 600 feet of curvature. And they were looking at it at 35 miles. And again, lasers, infrared, like this is proven, like people are saying in the comment section on Rumble, this has been debunking this Earth curve calculator for years. And so people that allege, oh, well, it's because Earth is actually bigger, right? That's why, like, we see further because you're like, it's just way too far. You never see the curve. Like, no matter how high up you go, you just never see the fucking curve. Then how is it that from these satellites and these images from the moon and etc. that we are seeing all of the what we're seeing the alleged Earth, right? And so when you be able to correct your calculations based on those that information, that data, very important. You're compiling it in order to stitch together images of the Earth for Google Earth and GPS coordinates and stuff like that, but you can't use those calculations to update your Earth curve calculation model. Okay, so I will reiterate, debunked. So I don't care the shape of the luminaries or how they function. It has nothing to do with where we are standing on this flat plane of inertia. And that's just, those are just facts. Anyway, where is that video? Yeah, that was flat earth. I want to get back into like Buzz's brother. Like, this is so freaking cool that we actually have someone's brother that is a flat earther. That's an astronaut. I think that's so freaking cool. It's taking a while to load. Why is this? Yeah, with water being stuck on the ball when you're in Australia, you're allegedly upside down. Like, it's just, oh my God. Interesting. I don't know why it's frozen. Jeez, everything's frozen.
Watch all these people.
Oh, now it's
Ready? Oops. You know, I got really bad service here, but there's a lot of people in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Are you in Mexico?
I am in Mexico right now.
Yeah. And how did the event go in Acapulco?
Oh, went super well. My presentation, besides a little technical issue where it was so hot the computer crashed a little bit.
Oh no.
That's cool. But it's working through these questions. How convinced are you now that the sun was fake down there?
Oh,
that's a great question. Then, and the reason I'm not giving it a whole lot more time is because if it was completely fake, like I believe, if I had to pick right now, I would say it was fake. You know, a lot of people are like, that's crazy, you know, but the technology is there. It's actually old technology. I don't think that anyone that any of the flat earthers that went there, well, that actually might be changing. I know that they went there. I believe that they were not in a studio. I believe that that if there was a circling sun, there is some explanation. The sky is immaterial, though the ground is material. We can't explain the immaterial. You know, when you look straight down on the Gleason's map, right now, it's just after 12 where I am. I'm in Mexico, and it's just a little past 12 o'clock, so it's 12:40. If I waited until the sun got over here, and I called my friend PK, he would say it's noon, and the sun's right above him. I was on a radio show in near Johannesburg, and the sun. I noticed the sun was right over. I was trying to find where he was, and I was like, "Hey, what time is it? And where's the sun?" He said it was noon. The sun was right above him. So the circling sun on the AE map does work from a top-down view for its zenith position. After it gets off its zenith position, it does some weird optical things. But the sky is not how you measure the ground. You can determine some things from the sky. Like we have a video coming out from Space Busters that show all the Antarctic bases and the day and night times there, and they don't match the globe. But, you know, the globers don't want to look at that. They go, oh, I saw light in the sky. Therefore, I'm going to take 10 years of my, you know, laughing at them and all of the ridiculous nonsense, and I'm just going to start agreeing with everything. That's kind of weird. I'm not sure what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I would assume that Austin doesn't buy the idea that it could have been faked.
Probably not. I did present it to him, and he said that it's interesting. It's possible, but he's not going to go down that road right now because it's really a hard road to sell, even to people that know that there was fakery going on. They don't want to buy that. They want to believe that a crazy idea that they were in an Amazon studio, giant LED screens. I think it's way easier and way bigger than that. I think this was an operation to, you know, just like when they did the moon landing, it was an operation to make people believe that they're spinning lost in space and that there is no creator.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if even the most knowledgeable truthers understand how powerful that entity is that it's creating this deception.
That is a great comment. That is absolutely truth. And you know, somebody that is not affected by it but doesn't understand it can't see through the deception. And somebody that's under the influence of it, they believe everything, you know, that it's, you know, telling them, if you will. So it is an amazing, incredible, exciting spiritual war that we're in. And you know, the truth will win in the end. And, you know, the globers will be like, oh, it's the globe is going to win. No, we're not standing upside down to people in Australia. We're not spinning. We're not in a space vacuum that violates all the laws of physics. None of that's true.
Well, to that, zeroing down on that in the way you look at it, was there ever a point in time where there was something about flat Earth that forced the idea that maybe it's round? Or was it a deception that was born entirely for the purposes of control? And
I believe it was born out of controlling the people, imprisoning our minds. And you know, if you don't know where you live, you know, or what this place is, you're lost. You're lost in space, right? We're living this system where everything, I'll say it, is alive, from the moon, the stars, the the ground, everything. It's all part of this living system, right? And we are incredible, connected spiritual beings. The stars, in my opinion, just me, I think the stars are angelic. That's why they never move. They're perfect. And we're having this soul experience in this system that was made for souls to have an experience. So it's a soul system, not a soul lure system, right? And we have this massive connection, telepathy. Is that the right word? Telepathy, right? I'm thinking of tilapia, the fish.
Yeah.
So the fish that know what other fish are doing, they're called telepathy. Okay, and when you introduce the globe, it cuts you off. It literally imprisons your mind. And when you're cut off, you're easily controllable. And the way they control us is through fear, right? Fear, whatever kind, false evidence appearing real. So, it takes a strong person, and this whole thing. This whole TFE, if you will, you call it, is going to make Flat Earth stronger. It's literally just going to weed out all the nonsense, and it's going to bring in all the good stuff. We're doing today. What's today? Today is Wednesday. On Friday, the 28th, at 3 p.m. Eastern, we're doing a multi-channel live stream with all of the old OG truthers, Flat Earthers. A lot of big names, and there's more and more coming. It'll be from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday. So this
What is OG?
OG means old. OG is old guard. Is that the word? It's like the old, like the OGs, the old guard.
Okay.
I hope I got that right.
That's the idea, though.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea. I haven't thought about that in a while. I'm just having a brain fart on that. That's interesting. I think it's an old guard. It's Dr. Zach is going to be there. Allegedly, Dave's going to be there. Marty Leeds, and countless others. And we're all going to be. We're not going to be. We're going to be talking about flat Earth proofs and globe debunks, and that's what the show is about. And it's going to be, everyone's invited, so we'll see how many people come. They'll be coming in and out. It'll be kind of fun. And you can find that if you go to Flat Earth Dave.
I still can't believe that this is possibly Buzz Aldrin's brother. It's just wild to me. It's wild. I love it.
My Facebook page. It'll be posted there. There'll also be a preview, a short video announcing it on my or the light in the sky. That proves that if you look at the lights in the sky, you actually do a little bit of thinking that they're lying about everything. Like, we couldn't see Polaris at 2 light months away. It's distance in light years. At 2 light months away, it's provable that it would be too small to see. But it's not 2 light months away. It's 330 light year, 430 light years away. The numbers are just so stupid. But nobody wants to really think about it, because when you get into big numbers, people's minds melt, and they're just like, well, that guy's got a white lab coat and a pocket protector, therefore he knows more than I do.
Would you remember the guy Mark
Sargent?
No. It's one of the guys that interviewed you, and he starts off. He's got this British accent, and he starts off, why in this world where we've got, satellites and planes flying all over, how could anyone actually believe that we're on a flat Earth? And I'm going to collaborate here today to try to see if I can get behind the thinking that how the world could possibly be flat. Remember that guy?
No, I don't, but tell me more.
Okay. Well, it was just interesting because, I'm sitting there thinking that he's the one thinking that he's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and doing all these ridiculous movements through space. And he's like a missionary, he's going to go into your world and try to understand how you could possibly be so confused that you think the Earth is flat, stationary. It was just, this is a guy that you would probably trust your finances to, but he's so indoctrinated that he can't see the forest for the trees.
So I didn't get to him. I didn't convert him.
Well, no, I would say no.
That's okay. It happens.
But,
it happens.
It was curious though, because for instance, he was surprised to know that the equation for a curve was not linear. Right. And this is an astrophysicist, and he was surprised to learn that a curve is not a linear equation. But he's so indoctrinated that, even that tripped him up. Really weird.
You mentioned satellites. So, satellites are on balloons mostly. Yeah. There might be other stuff up there. Do you know how solar panels work? It's a double question. First thing is, you know how a solar panel makes electricity?
Well, I know that because listen to everything you've done.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know. They have a stupid theory. It doesn't work. But because they don't know that the sun is just close and it's sending electricity and they're just collecting it. Solar panels also need to be angled towards the sun. So I live in Connecticut, and in Connecticut, you want to set your panels about a 30-degree tilt facing south, so the sun comes up and over and it's facing the panel all day long, right? And so that gets the most amount of sun. Why are these panels facing towards the horizon, right? Because then it would only get sun at sunrise, sunrise and sunset. Because when the sun's overhead, it wouldn't be producing any power because the sun would be coming in at too bad of an angle. And so why do they do that? Well, when we go up to the height of a balloon, it's facing right towards the sun. It's right there, right? If the sun was 93 million miles away, this would be like 10 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. The sun's going to keep going up and up and up and up as it goes over, but it's always at this height. It's always at this angle, at this height. So the panels are facing it. This is enough right here. This proves that our sun is local. Why would they do that?
Yeah.
There's no explanation.
It really is weird that all you have to do is look at the sun and the moon to know they can't possibly be at the distances we're told. Interesting.
Let me show you this.
You actually ask him, how do you know that the sun reflects off the moon? And he said, well, how can you possibly believe that the sun reflects off the moon? And he said, oh, no, you don't understand. It's not that I believe that. I know that. How does he know?
Yeah. You go out on a full moon night. Full moon night, you can read a book. If this is the only light, you're in the middle of nowhere. You can read a book. It casts your shadow on the ground. We're 250,000 miles away. That's what they tell us. Okay, so this dusty, dirty ball is reflecting enough light where it'll cast a shadow. You can read a book. Now, when you get halfway to the moon, it would be 4 times brighter. Halfway to again, it'll be 16 times brighter. Right? The inverse square law. It's just crazy how bright it gets. It's like midday. I'm standing right next to this arguably more reflective cement ball. Is it reflecting light on me? Is it traveling? Do you think I could see that from a mile away? You think the light on that would even get to me? Right? This is insane to think that this is, it's just, people just want to believe anything.
Yeah. Narnia, as you said.
Yeah. Yeah. But
and the scale of it, you know, the moon is, if the Earth was a foot in diameter, the moon would be 30 feet away from the Earth.
Okay.
Can you imagine taking a flashlight and shining it on a ball so that it reflects off to hit the Earth to create a hot spot the size of the eye of the end of the needle?
This is from NASA, and this is, we have a full Earth. That means that the sun is directly behind the camera and the satellite. And when the moon comes by, how come it's not lit up? It should be light. It should be light. We're close to the moon. Why isn't it the backside of the moon lit? Oh, exposure. It's, if you don't understand aperture, Dave, you're a flurf.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't want you knowing this stuff because this frees your mind. Amazing.
Do you think that the wild distances and speeds and all that, for instance, why claim that all these speeds? Do they have to support some other notion, or is it all to just make it sound so weird that it's like a clue?
Well, they need these speeds and they need these distances so you can't verify anything, right? We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting at 66,600 miles an hour on average.
I've talked about this is from ChatGPT. Again, I don't agree with everything ChatGPT is saying in this, but I will share it anyways, because I already talked about the speed of the sun, the apparent and the real is what they claim, and how it appears to move approximately 15 degrees every hour, which gives us a 24-hour clock and stuff like that. And where is it? And so this is just to show you like what I was asking. So I was asking, describe the sun's travel path, speed, rotation through the zodiac belt through the seasons. It talks about the zodiac belt as a band of the sky that includes 12 constellations through which the sun passes. Each of the 12 zodiac signs, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, corresponds to a segment of the ecliptic. is the apparent path that the sun traces the sky throughout the year as the Earth again, it's saying as the Earth orbits the sun. I don't believe that at all. I believe that the Earth is flat and stationary. I don't believe flat is a shape either. I'm just saying like we are experiencing life on the flat plane of inertia, humans. And I believe that the luminaries travel above us, more local, smaller than we're being led to believe, on circuits or paths, just like Eudoxus has said as well, one of the greats. Okay. So it travels through the zodiacal belt daily and annually, which impacts, again, in the day and night and in the seasons. It alleges there's some kind of like a tilt. I don't believe in the tilt, any of that shit. Talks about the solstices and the equinoxes. I've talked about that. And then it gets into how like the winter solstice in the northern areas of the world, like it's longer nights, shorter days, vice versa for the summer solstice, and during the equinoxes, the spring and fall or autumn equinoxes, when we have equal amount of day and night in the northern and southern regions every single year. The sun moves through the zodiac at a rate of approximately 1 degree per day. This means that the sun takes about 30 days to move through each zodiac sign and 360 days to complete the full journey around the zodiac, resulting in the 12-month year. It's 365 or 66, depending on if it's a leap year or a non-leap year, but you get the point. And because some of the constellations are larger than the other, it does take a little longer to go through them as well. So essentially, it travels 15 degrees per hour. Yeah, it's saying it here. Okay, good. So how many degrees does the sun travel per hour? The sun appears to move through the sky at a rate of about 15 degrees per hour. This is based on the fact that the Earth completes one full 360 degrees rotation every 24 hours. And so there you have it. And then so every hour, 15 degrees, or approximately 1,060 miles for distance, because degrees are measurable distances as well. And so going through each zodiacal sign every 2 hours. So 30 degrees every 2 hours. And this is where we have the 24-hour clock. And I don't think that we should have any kind of like daylight savings time stuff. It's ridiculous. And then I ask about the moon. So the moon moves across the sky at a different rate compared to the sun due to its orbital motion around the Earth. But anyway, so it still says that it's approximately it does its circle every 27.3 days, known as a sidereal month. But because the Earth is also moving around the sun, again, bullshit, the moon actually takes about 29.5 days to complete a full circle of phases, a synodic month. The moon's motion through the sky is roughly 13 degrees per day. This means that in 24 hours, the moon will have moved about 13 degrees further along its orbit. The moon moves at approximately 13 degrees per day. Divide that by 24 hours. 13 degrees divided by 24 hours, 0.54 degrees per hour. So the moon moves approximately 0.54 degrees per hour across the sky due to its... Anyway, not because of that at all. I don't buy this at all. I would say that the moon on a daily and annual basis as well, it would be very similar, but a little slower than the Earth. Sorry, than the sun. So again, this is what I mean. Like even ChatGPT, like you could see the friggin' moon's path in the sky, right? Like this is anyway. And it's saying it. I want it to clarify actually. Let's see what it says. Per day. Okay, so it's saying not per hour. So yeah, it's bullshit. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that ChatGPT again is incorrect. Yeah, we can literally see the luminaries as they travel through their circuits above us within the firmament, which is why it's predictable. Anyway. Oh my goodness, audio over 2 hours in. Oh my goodness. Okay, I gotta go. On that note, I will leave it at that. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of your day.